Have you noticed that narcissists change masks when dealing with different people? So there's one mask over here for this version, there's one mask over here for this version, and there's a different mask over here for this version, and you see it change over and over and over depending on if they're interacting with you or friends or family or coworkers or people on the street or whoever it might be. There's a different mask for different people. Maybe you've already seen this mask in your life. You've seen it drop, you've seen it crack, you've seen it fall, and he's left you and he's gone to the next supply and he looks like a completely different person. What's going on with the mask, and why does narcissists seem to fall in love with the mask rather than who they actually are, rather than them true selves? We're going to talk through this somewhat today of uncovering this aspect of the mask and how a narcissist adopts different personas for different individuals, leaving the next supply convinced that they found the better version than when he was with you, leaving you convinced that when he goes to the next supply, you're like, what was wrong with me? Because now he's completely different. He's completely changed. Did he or did he not? When we talk about this, I want to clue you in really quick. My name is Ben Taylor. I'm the founder of Raw Motivations, the creator of the NARC app, and your guide in the 45-day clarity challenge that helps you break out of a trauma bond and the obsessive thinking and the cycle of going back and forth to a toxic person. If you're new, I'm a self-aware narcissist that's gone through my journey and continues to go through my journey every single day of telling people about the abusive things that I have done in my past and that I'm trying to help break people free from on a daily basis. If you want to know more about this, you can go to rawmotivations.com. You can sign up to be able to talk to me, or you can go to Clarity Challenge to see how we actually break people free every single day. When we talk about this piece of narcissists and the mask, and then even new supply we'll talk about here in the third point, you need to understand first and foremost that narcissists are like a chameleon. They're going to change and shift and shape shift around the people that they're with to get the desired result. Everything is a transaction. Everything is something of like, what do I have to do to get the desired result? Now, is it always such analytical thinking? It's not. A lot of times it's knee-jerk reactions of trying to figure out what to get in the moment. And so then you layer upon lies, you layer upon gaslighting, you layer upon deflection and deceiving to be able to get the desired result as quick as possible. But narcissists oftentimes are like chameleons, alternating and changing their personality based on who they're around. You see this all the time where he looks great and amazing, like in the workplace environment, and all these people come up beside and congratulate him and tell him how great he is. And then when he comes home, he's completely different. Then you put him in this family environment, and sometimes it can be drastically different as well. Like maybe he's got a toxic relationship with some of his family members or his mom or his dad, or maybe there's a meshment there. There's all different types of pieces. You're like, this is another version of him. Then you stick him around his friends, and it's a completely different version. The version that like can talk crap about you, can talk crap about everybody else, and doesn't really give a care for anybody at all because those friends are on the same level. So you're going to see different masks, different facades that a narcissist is putting up, trying to be able to appear and fit in different circumstances. Of like, if I fit in here, I'll get what I want. If I fit in here, I'll get what I want. And this all serves the narcissist in a manipulative way of what can I do to be able to get what I want in the end result. You might have like your partner who he's warm and he's loving when he's trying to win you back. When there's been an argument, when you've laid down your foot and you've said, hey, this isn't happening anymore, I'm not doing this. And all of a sudden he shows up loving. Maybe you've said, hey, I'm going to divorce you. We're going to separate. I'm going to file, whatever it might be. And now he's acting like the nicest person ever. We see this because a narcissist will change or shift at the very end of the relationship to look better. Let's change the mask. Let's appear a little bit different. Let's add a couple more things so it seems like we're actually caring. But in reality, he's just trying to do this to keep on holding on to you just for a little bit longer. But narcissists might do this to try to be nice just to win you back after an argument and then reverts back. So it might be a day, it might be a week, it might be a month. Then he reverts back to the cold, distant self to only get back to the place where he has control. When you're with a narcissist for a long period of time, he always has control. It might feel like he doesn't, but he always does. Because he gets a reaction, a response out of you to end up getting what he wants. Hopefully this makes sense. So when we talk through this piece of the mask, there's an aspect of it being almost a fascination and almost an obsession for the narcissist with the mask. Now, if you've ever heard some of the Greek story of Narcissus, where some of the aspect of narcissism came from and where they came up with some of the name and everything. But anyways, that's a whole nother story. There's this piece of narcissist where he falls in love with his image. Like he falls in love with the reflection that's in the water. And this is what's happening with a narcissist. It's falling in love, per se, with the image, with the mask that he's putting out there versus his actual self, versus what's actually underneath. And so sometimes people say like, hey, narcissists are just so self-obsessed and they just love themselves so much. And that's actually completely false. Narcissist doesn't love themselves at all. Narcissist loves the image that he's putting out there, but he doesn't actually love himself, because true self-care and self-love would be self-introspection, would be self-growing, would be actually working on himself, working to grow and develop him to be the best version of himself, not saying, oh, this is just me. Take a look at my paper mache mask that's put together from all the previous supplies that actually makes me look good, when in reality, that's not the case. Okay. A lot of times some narcissists are enamored with their own masks, not their authentic selves, not the person that's actually underneath. There's this piece of like, I need to find comfort and security in the different versions of me. In this confident version, in this version that shows up nice, in this version that shows up happy. I need to put stock in all of those versus me. If people saw me for who I actually am, then they wouldn't love me. Then they wouldn't care about me. So I can't do that. I have to put up a mask. That's the whole concept. That's the thought process. And there ends up being this comfort and security of like, if I put this up, then I'll feel better about myself. Then I'll feel safe. Then people won't be able to attack me. People won't see anything wrong. I won't get in trouble. And regardless of how this started, whether it's from childhood, whether it's from how they were disciplined growing up, or the abandonment, rejection, all the different pieces that happen inside narcissistic personality disorder and the upbringings of it, there's this piece of like, I will feel safer if I put up a mask. And then that mask seems so great and people seem to like that mask. Let me fall in love with that mask versus actually working on myself to become the version that I actually want. The problem is, in order for a narcissist to actually become a healthy version, comes along this piece of honesty. The piece of honesty actually cracks and then breaks the mask so that there is no other aspect out there except this is just what it is. Narcissists is unwilling to do that. Narcissists is unwilling to actually break the mask and show who they actually are. Think of it this way, like despite him causing harm to you in one moment, he's going to switch to a different mask. He's going to switch to the loving mask and expect you instantly to forgive or to forget. Because, oh, well, this is who I am now. And it's like it moves on so fast. And you see this where he moves on so fast with the next person. And so the third thing I want to talk to you about is this piece of, it seems like there's this illusion or this improvement that's happening when he goes to the next person, the next supply, the new person. And you're left thinking, wait a second, like he changed for her. Why didn't he change for me? Why didn't he actually change and become better in this relationship? What was wrong with me? Why am I not good enough? Why is she better? Why? And all these thoughts will go through your head over and over and will debilitate you and will leave you cold, dark, and sad and hurt. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't actually have anything to do with you. It has to do with what the narcissist wanted, what the narcissist was looking for in that moment, and had nothing to do with your worth. Narcissist was in the middle of putting you down over and over because all he was focused on was himself and what he wanted in that moment. So when narcissists go to the next person, the new supply, they can present an upgraded version of themselves, taking what they learned in the last relationship and applying it to the new one. Taking the different triggers and things that happened with you and saying, oh, if I apply this to the next one and put this on my mask, it'll look good and I'll be able to last longer. I'll be able to hide underneath the mask because the mask is more intact. There's more good pieces that I took from the last relationship or tactics to be able to avoid getting caught or be called out on different things. And so a lot of times narcissists will go to the next supply and will make the next supply believe that he's way better than what he was in the last relationship and makes you think that he's changed for the next person. And oftentimes this cycle happens over and over and over, making you doubt your worth, your validity, and your validity of what actually happened to you. I need you to understand that a lot of times the narcissist is changing, quote unquote, is changing for the next person because the next person is different than you. They're not changing their behaviors. They're not transforming themselves. They're modifying things on the surface to be able to lock that supply in. There's different aspects that other supply is going to like and appreciate different things that you did. So the narcissist is going to change those things. to appear better, to appear like they've got it together, to appear more attractive, whatever it might be. Then there's times the narcissist is also doing this to be able to trigger you, to be establish a line of communication again, to leave the door open, to make you doubt yourself so that when he comes back saying, oh, I want to give you closure, or I want to talk through this, you actually open up the door and start talking to him, and then he walks right back into your life. You have to be really, really careful with this, because a lot of times narcissists will leverage this over and over and over. Your narcissistic ex, he might have moved on to the new partner. He might appear fixed. He might appear that all his flaws are magically better, and he leaves the new person with the illusion that he is a changed person. You see, you have to understand is a lot of people want the narcissist to change. Unfortunately, the majority of narcissists do change from person to person to person. The mask, the aspect of how they're showing up and how they're living. So they can hide underneath the surface, they can appear better in society, but the difference is there's not actual true transformation from the inside out of narcissists actually admitting his lies and working on it, but instead it's let me fall in love with the mask, let me create a new layer on the mask, let me add an additional mask to be able to hide, to be able to mask the person I actually am inside. If you've experienced the complexities of being in a narcissistic relationship and you need support, I want you to consider joining our 45-day Clarity Challenge at claritychallenge.net. If you want personalized guidance, you can explore an option of working with me, seeing if that would work in an accelerated environment by going to rawmotivations.com. You can schedule one-on-one there. We'd love to be able to talk to you and help you move forward. If you haven't already, hit subscribe so you can learn more, and you can follow to make sure you hear more about narcissistic content and how we help set people free every single day.